All right, we are live. We are back. We meaning me, have not been here very much the last year or so since getting back to work, since everybody getting back to work. It's tough to find folks that are available, professional musicians that are available because they are so excited to be back to work again. But we are here today, and welcome to episode 76. My name is Neil LaFortune. I am your host, the host and creator of the Gretsch Afternoon Drum Break that began in April of 2020 as something creative to do in the music drumming business community, to bring Gretsch drummers together, to chat with Gretsch drummers from all over the world. And I would like to congratulate the Gretsch Company on their 140th anniversary this year. And if you like this shirt, you can get this and many more other 140th anniversary items from GretschGear.com. And I was fortunate a few weeks ago to have attended the 140th event in New York City at the Cutting Room, and was privy enough to spend a lot of time with both Fred and Dinah Gretsch, meet all kinds of people in person that I had only seen on a screen or through email. So it was wonderful seeing and meeting Fred and Dinah. Felt like I knew them, though, from all the communication. And wonderful meeting Lena, Logan, granddaughter Chelsea, Billy Amendola, Rick Van Horn, and I want to give a big shout out to Jim Mola for being such a fabulous friend and picking me up at the airport and taking me where I needed to go. It was incredible. Just seeing all of the amazing drummers, the 4 drummers that they had that evening. I encourage you to go to Gretsch.com and check out the latest installment that gives the full rundown of what happened at the 140th event back in May. So today, I am mega excited to have this young, wonderful drummer all the way from Poland. She is in her early 20s and has amassed an incredible drumming career thus far, really harnessing the powers of social media, and has 136,000 Instagram followers, 193.3 thousand TikTok followers, over 4,000 YouTube subscribers, and 18,000 Facebook followers. She is 6 hours ahead, and I appreciate her carving out some time to spend on this show. And she has also won such prestigious events like the Hit Like a Girl drumming contest. She has recorded drums for Grammy award-winning musicians such as Andre Pivek, Kartik Shah, various other British, Indian, Scottish, American, Puerto Rican producers, and recorded alongside the great Ash Sohn on a single called Dark, Dark Days. Please welcome to our little show here, the Gretsch Afternoon Drum Break, Miss Wiktoria Bialic. Thanks for being here.
Hi guys, how's it going? Thanks for having me. Yeah, I'm so excited. So I can't wait to talk with you. Yeah.
I've been so excited because, as we said off camera, I have seen you and your online presence, and I'm like, who is this wonderful drummer? And I've seen your popularity, and for good reason, just explode over the last few years. And what I noticed about you when I see you online is your smile and the love that you have for, look, like that's incredible, and the love that you have for drums and drumming, and the great sounds and grooves that you get on your posts. So thank
So
you for being here. So what's happening today? What are you up to today?
to be honest, a lot of things going on right now. June is kind of like crazy month also for me because I study drums. So right now I have a lot of like exams. So I'm trying to, to prepare well. So a lot of exams. I'm also a part of a Polish tour for a Polish artist. So every single week I'm in a different city in Poland. Also, when I'm back to my home, to my recording studio, right now we are in my recording studio. I don't know if you see it, but it's like, yeah, Gretsch
Oh
Drums,
yeah,
yeah.
that's
So
awesome.
when I back to my home, I recorded some songs. So a lot of things going on. I'm prepared for another like drum festival. So I'm happy that I can play on drums. So it's awesome. Yeah,
It is going on for you. That is for sure. That wow.
absolutely.
I wanted to ask you what the scene is like in Poland. What is the environment like as for musicians in
Yeah.
general? And were there any kind of obstacles for you being from there? And was it something that people kind of didn't think it was a good idea, or are people generally supportive of you?
Yeah, to be honest, being a musician in Poland, I think I'm a positive person, so I'm trying to always positive in trying to think in a positive way always. But sometimes being, a musician in Poland is kind of like tough, situation, because if you want to make a living, you have to be a part of tour, and especially if it's like tour for like 1 year, it's great for you because you have a like fee like every single month. But if you are not part of like tour, it's so hard to make a living, to be honest. Like you can be a teacher, but it's not like just your one job, so you need extra job
Right.
to feed your family, to rent a flat, and etc. And I think about, like, for example, recording situation, they always like hire like popular drummers.
Okay.
So for me, if somebody like producer from Poland will call me, for me it's like, wow, it's something incredible because they always use the same drummers. So so it's kind of like, I think, not easy to be here. And also, if you're trying to be like international drummer, you need to like speak in English, of course. And sometimes we are like afraid to speak in English because we are, you know um, afraid of like mistakes and etc.
Sure.
So and also I think, when I talked with Ashon one day when he was in Poland, he told me that, wow, it's so different, to be a musician in Poland and in England, because I told him that it's hard to make a living right now, if you are not a part of tour and etc. We have some contract to sign and etc. So he was like, "Wow, it's totally different worlds, to be honest, Victoria." So yeah,
Yeah, it's challenging here in Canada as well, because there seems to be so many musicians
yeah.
and less gigs than there used to be,
Oh, okay.
But as I think I listened to an interview that you a couple of years ago with another Canadian, Seamus. I listened to that one, and he was
Wow.
talking, and someone gave you advice about being positive and working hard and just continuing doing what you're doing, and success will happen.
Yeah, exactly. I think I was talking about, like, especially I think Sarah Hagen. Sarah work,
That's it. Yeah.
Zildjian company right now. He's like with Royal, I think, Symbols. This type of like a company. This is like new company.
Yes.
They are like, I think, also great. So I met Sarah when I was at the PASIC Drum Festival, and she told me that, Victoria, if you work hard, just focus on positive things, great things will come, and when I met like Ashton, it was like the same, like work hard every day, like be positive, be kind, focus on grooves, on sounds, and maybe great things will come to you. So yeah, I'm trying to really focus on that kind of like things. So yeah,
That's great because believe me, Sarah's been in the business a long time and she's seen a lot of things and has a lot of experience. And so does
exactly.
Ashton, for goodness sakes.
Yeah.
And they know, positivity,
Always.
things are happening for you, and
Yeah.
I'm very happy. Now, you say that you're in school. Like, how much time do you have left, and what are you actually studying? Are you studying drums? Are you doing production? Are you doing? Can you fill us in on what it is that you're actually doing?
Yes, so I think it's nothing special because I study drums. Next year I will be like master degree. So finally, thanks God, because sometimes it's like not easy, to be a part of tour because
Sure.
I travel a lot. Like I need to back home. Sometimes I spend like 9 hours, to back home. But I think everything is possible. I think I'm well organized. So I have a schedule that, okay, on Monday I will be, study. I will be at the university. On Tuesday I will practice on drums. On Wednesday I'm going to show. So I think everything is like possible, but mostly I'm study drums. It's kind of like different because I'm study like jazz and modern music.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in Poland, if you study drums, they are really focused on jazz.
Yes.
So if you focus on like grooves or songs, it's kind of like not a great direction if you want to study because they are really focused just on jazz. Of course, you will practice some grooves and etc. Like trying to be they will teach you how to play like different styles of music, but mostly they're really focused on jazz stuff. Yeah.
I think everywhere does because they've been doing that for 50 years. And I'm not sure if the institutions know what else to teach or where. I mean, and believe me, I studied jazz and Latin,
Yes.
and still practice that and was practicing that half an
As
hour
well.
ago before we chatted. But I'm wondering, like, what is the connection? How do you prepare someone that's going to make a living? You're probably not going to make a living as a jazz drummer, but it's good to give you the tools. So I'm
Yeah.
wondering what's going to happen over the next, maybe transformation to see what the curriculum is going to look like at schools that's going to incorporate some modern music. Now, when you said modern music, did you
Yeah.
say modern?
Yeah.
What did you mean? What did you mean by that?
Yeah, like modern music is like different styles of music, like this kind of like
Like
interpretation of this kind of like words. Yeah, like at the university, yeah, in Poland.
like hip hop and funk and rock, that kind of thing, do you
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, like Latin stuff, like maybe reggae if you want to learn. Yeah.
You play any of that by chance?
Yeah. I asked my teachers like, can we play some reggae grooves? And they told me that, but you know how to play. I was like, no, like I every day like I listen to different like reggae artists, and I think it's not so easy to play reggae.
Right.
Like
Oh
it's
yeah.
a great feeling with great sound. But sometimes I think for drummers it's like, oh, it's easy, it's not jazz, because in jazz we have some improvisation, etc. Oh, reggae is easy, and I'm like, I, I don't think so.
No, no, it certainly is not easy, especially to get that groove, that lope in the
Yeah,
sound, you know.
exactly.
No. Any favorite drummers in that genre, in the reggae style? Who are you listening to? Who do you really like?
To be honest, right now I'm not like focused on like reggae drummers. I'm trying to like to listen like some reggae artists. Like one of my favorites is like Bob Marley, and I'm started with this kind of like one. I think Ashon is not like reggae drummer, but he has specific like feeling for this kind of like genre. So of course, Bob Marley's drummer, he was so great. Like I'm trying like mostly like focus like even on reggae guitars and basses.
Mhm.
So I'm not just like focused right now like just on drummers. So
That's
like
great.
yeah,
That's really smart because you're not going to be having conversations with other drummers on the bandstand. You're going to be talking to the bass player and the
yeah,
guitar player and the singer, keyboard player, those people. And and it's great for
yeah,
them when you can say, hey, I really like your guitar playing. It reminds me of, and they're like, wow,
Exactly. Yeah.
making friends, like I'm sure
Yeah.
you do.
And how you know it, like, yeah, because
Right.
we are listening to, like, different musicians in reggae and artists. So yeah, exactly. And
That's
also
amazing.
great, inspiration to, like, maybe this kind of like guitar player, play with a specific like feeling. So it will be inspiration for me also, like, who knows?
Excellent.
Yeah.
That is excellent. So would it be safe to say that right now your goal is to kind of finish school? Is that one goal, or do you have some other goals right now?
Oh, right now, like, for me, like, university is kind of like extra thing because, of course, being a master degree, I don't know, it's like the same in Canada. I'm really curious about, because in Poland, if you want to be a teacher and you want to, like, have like PhD, so if you want to work at the university, this kind of like master degree is so
Yes.
important.
Yeah.
So I'm doing it because, who knows, maybe it will be useful for me in the future to be maybe a teacher. I don't want to be right now because I'm still learning, and I don't know a lot of things. So I don't want to be a teacher right now, but who knows, in a 12 years maybe it will be useful being, a master degree, like, who knows. So and also I have a great teacher, so they can help me still, to
That's
be a
wonderful.
better like musicians. So but it wasn't like, to be honest, like, sorry to say, like, it wasn't like go for me, to be like master degree. Like, my goal is like, one of my big dreams is like being a like session musician, like session drummer, because I really love songs. I really love,
Mm,
creating stuff, like, add my heart to song, to spread the message of the song, like creating different sounds. And also, I think in the history of music, we don't have a lot of like female drummers being a session, musician. So I really want to be this kind of like session drummer. So yeah, this kind of like always kind of like for me right now, and think in an international ways is also in my mind. Like, I'm trying to, like I said, think in an international way, trying to be in a part of like band in a different country. But I still have time. Like, I think people like at my age, like, we really want to do everything so fast. Like, I want to be like popular, I want to be rich, I want to be
yeah.
session drummer, I want Grammys and etc. And I think, I read a lot of like interviews, and like, uh seeing this kind of like, this is like journey, like, we
Yes.
sometimes it's like 30 years, to have this kind of like mega growth, this kind of like feeling. So it's kind of like process, so for me, like, I'm young, and it's a process. So of course I have a dreams, but I know, I need to, work, and something maybe will come to me, so yeah.
Wow. That's amazing. I mean, you're speaking as though you are 20 years older than you are. I actually didn't think you were as young as you are, early 20s, um, as the same age as some of my kids.
Oh,
And but you seem to have some goals ahead of you, some
yeah.
a good work ethic. So this is really, that's why I didn't think you were as young as you are, because it's kind of a rare thing.
Yeah.
So that's incredible.
Yeah.
I would like to go back to the beginning and
Of
ask
course.
you, where did drums and music begin? Was it drums first? Was it music first? Was it a combination? Tell us about the beginning for you.
Yeah, so I think everything started when I was at the kindergarten, and my teacher, who taught me how to, how to sing notes at the kindergarten. She told me that, oh, you sing, yeah, like, you sung very well. You need to go to music school. So my parents decided that, okay, it will be great, to be a part of music school. So I remember that. it was like an open day at this kind of like music school, and you had a chance to see different instruments. And I remember that I chose violin because it was like small instrument. It was so beautiful, and I
Yeah.
thought this instrument it will be for me. So basically, I choose violin. And I spent like 4 years playing. I played on violins. It was like terrible, to be honest, experience because I practiced like 15 minutes like per day, and my sounds were it was like terrible sounds, like terrible technique. My teacher also told me that Victoria, you will be never like good violin player. So I remember I was like crying.
Wow.
Yeah, so this kind of like story, and then I fell in love because of the of the drums and percussion stuff. And I remember that I opened a door to drum room at the music school, and I saw like marimba, vibraphone, timpani, snare drum, and I was like, where is drum set? Because my dream, it was like, play just on drums. I just want to play a song. And I told to my mom that I don't want to be like classical, like percussion and etc. But I finished this kind of like music school. I spent like 12 years, so I played on marimba, vibraphone, timpani. And I remember it was like also like tough time for me because I really wanted to be a teacher. So my drum teacher told me that it would be great to study like classical music. But mostly when I was listening to my heart, I heard this kind of like answer that you need to play just on drums.
Yeah.
So basically right now I'm studying just drums, and I'm thanks God that I didn't pass it. I think it will be interesting. I didn't pass exams, to a classical word.
Okay.
And I quit one exam because I didn't want to play this kind of like stuff on marimba and etc. So at the one university I didn't pass exams, and the second one I quit exams. So after 1 month I said to my parents that I don't want to be like musician. But my mom especially, she told me that, Victoria, I know that you are really into it, and this is your passion, like go for
Yeah.
it. You need to focus just on drums. So that's it wasn't like easy time for me, especially during this kind of like exams, because
Hmm.
I'm very emotional person. So right now if I will back to this kind of like exams, I will don't care, because like your health is more important than
Yeah.
exams. And it created a lot of like stress because of my body and etc. So right now I don't care, because like your health is so significant. So sometimes it's better to have like not the best marks. So because it's better to focus on your like health and like your head and etc. So yeah, this kind of story. So
It's
it was
great.
like tricky and funny for me right now. Also classical music, I think it helps me a lot because of the emotions, of the dynamics, of the interpretation. I think I'm more sensitive because of that on drums right now. So I don't like to play very loud, to be honest. Like I really
Interesting.
love to play in different dynamics, like piano, like forte, of course, but not like rock music. It's
Yeah.
like very loud. And yeah, because of the classical music. So a lot of things also happen because of that. Yeah.
That's incredible. Now I want to ask you, you were saying there was music school available to you when you were really young?
When I was like 7, I was at the music school.
Because
So
they don't have that here. They may have a school of the arts here, but that's a little bit later than that. We don't have that. I wish we did. Could you imagine? Wow.
yeah, but to be honest, when I'm thinking right now, I think it will be better, for example, for me, to be a part of this kind of like music school. Like for example, when I'm right now, like I'm 20s, like I'm 23. So for me, it will be great, for example, right now to be at the music school. I know it sounds
Yeah.
like weird, but I think I have like more wisdom to understand this kind of like, knowledge at the music school. When I was like 7, I didn't understand what's going on with this kind of like, ear training, with the
Oh,
intervals, with the harmony stuff, and it was a lot of great things because teacher they have a lot of like, knowledge, but I was so young, to understand this kind of like tools. So maybe in Canada it's better, if you are like
I
older.
don't. Yeah, I don't. It's funny. I wish there was more access or
Yeah.
because they've cut. I mean, sometimes you don't even have music class. They will have some of my young drum students who go to school from public school from
Yeah.
grades kindergarten to grade 8. Like they may or may not have much. They'll play the recorder during music class
Okay.
and sing and do ta ti ti ta. It's pretty limited. So that's a great opportunity. I wish that I was exposed to music a little bit more when I was young. I didn't start playing until I was almost 19, so I was pretty old and but always had wanted to. But anyway, it all worked out for the best. But
Yeah.
that's incredible. Um, Now you had some private instruction, and did you play with bands? Did you play to
Yeah.
recordings? Yeah. What were you playing to? What kind of music does Victoria like, or did you like when
Yeah.
you started playing drums?
Yeah, I need to back like to also to my music school because I didn't mention that it was like forbidden to play on drums when I was at the music school.
Of course.
Only, focus on classical music. So
Oh,
my teacher always like promised me that, Victoria, if you pass your exams, I will show you how to play on drum set. But it never happened, to be honest. Like I spent
dangling the carrot. Oh boy.
yeah, I spent like 12 years and nobody showed me how to play on drum set. So I decided to have some private lessons, but also I was like 10 or 11, and I had some teachers that they really want to show me how to play rudiments on drum set. And I was, young, and just I had just one dream. I just wanted to play a song. So they told me how to play like paradiddles on drum set, and I was like, sorry, dude, but I really want to, play a song.
That,
So
oh,
after
that's
like,
terrible.
yeah, so after like months, I quit also this kind of like private, teacher stuff. And especially I started, playing drums when I was like 16, something like this, because my parents bought me a Gretsch drum set. It was my first like drum.
Right.
Yeah, and for me, like my teacher, it was like records. I just choose one, like record, for example, like I don't know, like Michael Jackson, for example, or like another like artist like Georgia Smith, for example, and I just trying to play, with drummer. Then I created some different parts, and especially to be honest, I didn't have like teachers, so right now I study drums. So for 4 years I have a teachers. So basically I learn like, I watch some videos on YouTube on Drumeo.
Yeah.
I read a lot of like interviews. I listen still to a lot of different genres. So then I started to attended some music workshop, and I met some another like great musicians. And I remember that I was so, afraid to play on drums because I was into some just classical music. So I wasn't so brave like I think right now. So I was so, nervous and etc. So that's why my playing, it was like this kind of, and I was playing in the piano always because I was so, um out of my comfort zone. So yeah, I didn't have, any teachers in my past. So
That's killing me to hear that because I've been teaching since the 80s.
but I
And
think you are a great teacher. That's why you have like, I think, a lot of like students. I didn't have, like I wasn't lucky, to have this kind of like teacher like you, for example. Yeah. So I
well,
think your students, they are like lucky, to have you. Yeah.
And so what was the first song that you played on the drums then? Do you remember? It wasn't that long ago, really.
Yeah, I think it was like Billie Jean by Michael Jackson, you know. It's like a
Yeah,
easy groove, but you need to, focus like and play it like during 4 minutes like the same, you know. So
yeah, that's a great track for sure.
yeah.
That's incredible. Wow, I find that hard to believe. I would have thought that you would have been playing songs since you were 6, 7 years old, and were, oh boy, that's surprising to me. But you know what? It hasn't exactly slowed you down or hindered you. It's just
Yes.
you've done okay so far. And you're the same age as my drummer son, Liam, who started playing drums at 20 months,
Okay.
and he's a terrific drummer, and guitar player and singer. But so you're the same age. He just turned 23 in April. So
April.
uh,
Great.
April. So an Aries baby. So now I want to ask you, since this is the Gretsch afternoon drum break, and your parents were very, very smart in getting you a Gretsch set. I wanted to ask, and I always ask everybody, why Gretsch drums?
Mm-hmm.
Like, was it just a fluke that your folks bought you a Gretsch kit?
I think, one of my favorite drummers, they were always like with Gretsch, and it was like one of my first inspiration to get this kind of like, drums. So that's why, like, as shown, like Max Roach, a lot of like drummers, they always like choose Gretsch. So that's why my parents also bought me Gretsch drums. It was like renowned Gretsch. So and I still have this kind of like kit. This kit is always with me on tour in
Wow.
Poland. So this kind of like drums, they're always with me. Right now, I have broadcaster, and I'm so in love. Yeah, also, that's great. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I choose broadcaster because I was looking for this kind of like modern and vintage sound, and because of the shell. So we have
Yeah.
a maple, poplar, maple. So it's like free fly shell. So that's why I can create like some modern sound. I can create some vintage sound. So I have different option, and I can create a lot of great and a lot of different sounds, and I'm really addicted to the sounds. So
Yeah.
that's why the broadcaster, it was my choice. So I really looking also for to try USA custom. It's also, I think it will be great because it's
Oh
more
yeah.
like kind of sound. So it will be great, I think, for like rocky vibe. Yeah, but
They're
because
they're
of,
gonna yeah,
yeah,
they're gonna blow your mind. I'm telling you, Victoria. The
yeah.
USAs are so versatile and so wonderful and pure. It makes me almost tear up when I play them. I'm not
Hey,
kidding. There's something about it that is not duplicated by any other drum company. Oh,
how about like sustain? Because broadcaster is like kind of like short, like sound. If you
yeah.
hit, this is like short. However, like USA custom is like more like open, like more sustain. I think so. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. They're
Okay. Yeah.
what are your broadcaster sizes, and what's the color on that kit?
Oh, I can show you even right now. Like,
Let's see.
I don't know if you
Oh, the
see.
gold sparkle. I love
Yeah,
that.
exactly. So I really love it. And also, Gretsch company made for me this drum set because of the drum festival in the USA. Because I was at the PASIC, and it was like one of my first like drum festivals. So Gretsch company like built this kind of like drum set, and this drum set, flew with me to Poland.
Come on.
Yeah, we spent like 10 hours, and here you go. We have a broadcaster in Poland. So, size, this is like, I have like 10-inch tom. I have like 22-inch bass drum, 14-inch floor tom. Also, I have like here, like my another like tom is like 13-inch tom,
Okay.
and it's so great. Like sometimes I can create like a lot of and more like low ends because of this kind of like 13-inch tone, sometimes even like 14-inch. So I
Wow.
really love it, this kind of like also 13-inch tone. Yeah.
That's wonderful. Are those toms? Do you have suspension mounts, or are they direct to shell? How are they mounted onto the? Here I'm direct to shell. I have no
Yeah, I
suspension mounts
have
at
like
all.
stands for a snare drum. Yeah, like for like a 10-inch tom, I use like this kind of like snare stand by
Ah,
DW. Yeah. And for for tom it's like standard. Like I have
on
a
the
legs.
legs.
Yeah, but when I use like 13 tom is like the same. I use like snare drum like stand. And why? Because I discovered that when you recorded your drums, sometimes if you put like your like microphone so close, like
Yes.
right now, you can hear
Wow.
that it will be like extra like notes and some like
Yep.
metal stuff because you have like your toms on this kind of like stand like on your bass drum.
Right.
um yeah, that's why I use like this kind of like snare drum stand because I don't hear like extra,
The stands ringing, etc. Or yeah,
yeah,
that's great. Did
yeah.
you get that idea from Ash Sohn? Because I see he will. I'm just maybe or no.
Oh, I don't know. I never like thought about it, to be honest. Like,
Okay.
for me, it's like also like more comfortable to play when
Right.
I have like toms on stands than on bass drum. It's like I always have this kind of like problems,
Right.
uh, to upside down or like to have like higher my toms. So I have like always like some bad experience. So that's why I use like snare drum stands. Yeah.
That's neat. I like them on the bass drum, but you never know what you're going to get on a backline
Yeah,
drum set.
absolutely.
Sometimes they're going to be flying on, so you get used to. But I like that snare, and that DW snare that is meant for the tom tom. Correct? Is it like to mount a tom on that stand? It's a
Yeah,
specific stand. Hmm.
exactly. Yeah.
You make
And
good
they have
hardware,
a specific like dampening on this kind of like snare
right?
drums. Yeah, so that's why I also
Hmm.
like use DW. Yeah.
Maybe I should get one of those too, because sometimes I do like just a single tom in the front.
Yeah.
And that might be cool. Hey, I'm learning stuff every day. This is
Yeah.
awesome. And snare drum. What do you have for snare drums? I've seen you with the Swamp Dog
Yeah.
before.
Yeah.
What do you have there?
So this kind of like snare drum is also with me always during my tour. I can like it's kind of like for this kind of like fat sound.
Hmm.
I can tune it very low and it sounds so great. Like for this kind of like 80s vibe, it's like my my snare drum to create this kind of like sound. I'm trying right now to experiment with the broadcaster. So uh so right now I'm trying to learn this kind of like snare drum because it's kind of like shallow snare drum. So I'm trying to detune it to create more like low ends, but also trying to tune it in a higher way. So right now I'm trying to experiment, but also I'm using like different snare drums, to be honest. Like also I need to mention like LP company is like connection with Gretsch also. So
Hmm.
I discovered that also I can show you this snare drum is so great. It's like I don't know, like see you like this is like LP snare drum. It's so big, and you can create some very like fat sound. So like Gretsch or LP, I really love this kind of like snare
Hmm.
sound. So
I
you can
saw Cindy Blackman do that with Santana. She had an LP snare drum in
yeah.
Toronto with Santana. We were looking.
Yeah. Okay.
Seriously, we were like, I'm like, that is an LP. And I think hers was a brass drum, but it was a deep drum.
Yeah. I think I
That's
think this is like the same. And also like manager from LP company, he was like one day he wrote me a message like, Victoria, I didn't know that we can create this kind of like low end sound because of this kind
yeah,
of snare drum, because it's always like for this kind of like Latin,
right.
stuff. So you can tune it very high, and I was like tune it very low. I used a lot of like tape on
Mm.
my like snare drum, like even no EQ, like no compression, and wow, sounds so great, to be honest. Like
Is
Yeah.
that a brass drum or is it a steel shell?
Yeah, it's like a brass. Yeah.
Really? That's the
Yeah.
second time. Okay, I'm gonna have to investigate this too, because as Gretsch
Yeah.
artists, we
I will
we
send you. Yeah, it's kind of like full name of
that's
my drum. Yeah.
that
So
is that is amazing. So, how did your official relationship begin with the Gretsch company? How did the ball get rolling for you? I'm sure, you having a lot of online exposure, being seen by a lot of people, that's kind of the new resume over the last few years and going forward. If you don't have social media accounts and a presence and followers and things, they don't necessarily care. But how did your relationship with Gretsch happen?
yeah, I think like right now, like world is so different, So like you said, like if you don't have this kind of like social media, content, it will be hard for me.
Yeah,
For example, for us, But like 20 years ago, it was like, if you have like gig, with the big
that's
artists, you have like contract, and right now sometimes like if you are even like not great player, but if you are like popular, you have a contract sometimes, yeah. And for me it wasn't like goal because I really want to be a good drummer and great musician. So I was always like afraid because of the social media, because I see like every day a lot of like drummers. Sometimes they are great, sometimes they are at the beginning of the journey, but they really want to be a part of some companies,
yeah.
and we need to remember that it's like a relationship. So if company will give you something, you also to support them, so it's not about like, for example, in my country, if you have a contract, you can you will take a photo of this kind of like situation, you will add it on Facebook, and wow, I'm so great because I have a contract, but you don't put your work on it, like you need to support this kind of like company, so it's always about like, oh, I just wanted to add photo on Facebook, to show
Right.
people that I'm with this kind of like company. But it's not about that, I think, so it's a relationship. But about Gretsch, I think everything for me like started because of the Hit Like a Girl contest.
Okay.
It wasn't because of my social media, to be honest. Like I in 2021, it was a real honor for me to won this kind of like contest. So in category 18 to 39, so I became like, it's always like for me like crazy, I became like a champion. So after this kind of like winning of Hit Like a Girl, Gretsch, like Don Lombardi, like sent me an email that, Victoria, we I saw your video because of this Hit Like a Girl. You sounds very well. And how about Gretsch? Because I saw that you use Gretsch. So how about
Wow.
being a part of our family? Can we talk and etc. So I was like, wow, it's incredible. For me, like I was like 21, so for me it's like so fast. So
Incredible.
I'm still trying to be normal because it's, yeah, because for me it's like so fast, a lot of things going so fast for me, so I'm trying to stay in a in a normal way, so
Hmm.
that's why I'm with Gretsch, because and I always like I use Gretsch, but because of the Hit Like a Girl, to be honest. Yeah, a lot of like companies saw me because of this contest, so I always like, if I met some like female drummers, I always like talking about this contest because it's so great. You can meet some another like great female drummers in like big community. We are here to support each other. It's not about like competition, of course it's like a contest, but
Sure.
it's not about it, because I think music, it's we don't have like losers and winners, because it's all about like music. So it's so great. So then like Remo contacted me because of this kind of like of this contest, like Vickford. So a lot of like companies saw my videos. So
Wonderful. That's
yeah,
great. Now, I wanted to ask you, how do you prioritize which
yeah,
platform you post on, and how do you figure out how do you decide what to actually post?
Mm-hmm. So also might be interesting for everybody, but when I met Ashon, he told me that Victoria, it's so important, to add some videos on social media, and
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I think it's time, to record some videos. But I was like observe like situation in Instagram, like I observed this kind of like situation that drummers, they are really into chops, they are
Yeah.
really into like fast playing, they are really into like copy each other, like playing covers. And for me, like I found very, I think early that it's not me, that I'm not into like chops, I'm not into playing fast. I don't want to be like, superstar or something like this. I just want to play songs and grooves and sounds great.
Yeah.
So in my head, it was like, if my mom or my dad, they are not like musician, and they will see my video and they will like, wow, what's going on with this kind of like timbales? This is like delay or reverb, why you put this kind of like effect? Wow, sounds cool. Why you detune it your snare drum like that, or like
Wow.
you tune it your tom like timbales? So it was still, it's the kind of like my goal. If somebody is not a musician, and they can like stop and they can watch my video and they can like, wow, it's something different, or like
It is.
it's so creative. So for me, it's kind of like go, so if you are like stop for like 1 minute and you will watch it and you will like, wow, I really like it because of the
Wow.
gated reverb or like compression or whatever. For me, it's like, it's cool that you are
So
like focused on sounds. Yeah.
that's great. So you're being true to yourself. And I can't remember where I heard, I think it was actually a Sting. I just listened to a Sting audiobook telling a little brief about his time with the Police. And he basically would write songs that he liked,
Okay.
and fortunately, the rest of the world, for the most part, enjoyed those songs as well. So instead of trying to pander to become
Yeah.
famous or to have success and all that stuff, he just wrote what was true to him and what he needed to say. And it sounds like that you're doing the same thing. Now, I want to ask though, do you post the same video on TikTok, Insta, and YouTube, or do you pick and choose?
Oh, for me, like the most important is like Instagram, because a lot of great things happen because of the Instagram. Like a lot of like producers like
Sure.
contact me like via Instagram, but mostly I added like the same video like everywhere, like on Facebook, on Instagram, or like on TikTok. Sometimes I added on Facebook like earlier. Sometimes like on Monday, or I will add on Facebook, and on Wednesday I will add the same video on Instagram. It will be hard to create so a lot of like different videos for each, for every platform. And especially
Right, right.
yeah,
Yeah.
especially I'm study still, like I'm travel, so it will be impossible right now, for me to create
Yeah.
videos. So
When do you sleep?
yeah, yeah, I think it's not a problem. So yeah, sometimes I'm woke up at 5 a.m. or like 6 a.m. and I'm like prepare like stuffs for my university or like practice. So like for me, like sometimes every day is like the same. I woke up like very early. I watch my favorite drummers. I like it's like, for me it's like routine. Sometimes
Right.
like I every day I listen to different music, analyze lyrics and stuff in music. So for me it's like every single day is like kind of like the same, but I see the progress. So for me it's like also the most important stuff. So
Yeah.
seeing progress is so great.
Well, you're doing everything right. I mean, and just
Oh,
keep doing what you're doing. You really are doing. You're doing a lot of things that a lot of people wonder why their careers aren't going anywhere. Well, it's because they will stop and start. or they will do it, 2 days a week. They got to really be accountable and not just motivated, have some
Yeah,
character, right, and be
sure.
disciplined. So,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
sounds
Discipline
like
is
you are.
so important in music. Yeah.
Where did you learn this stuff? Are your parents good role models? Do you have external role models? It sounds like your parents are
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
supportive.
Like, yeah, I have the best parents in the world. So,
Uh,
yeah, so it's so great to have this kind of like parents because they are like really into us. I have a brother, so I think they also had some dreams and also like maybe careers, but they choose us, to focus on our dreams. So I think it's not also easy to be sorry, like parent.
yeah,
So um
that's for
so
sure.
yeah, so I'm really grateful, to have their time, their support, and being a musician sometimes is like not stable, like job, for example. So,
Yeah.
but they trust me that I'm really like feeling that something great will happen. Like being a musician is it's like incredible journey, and I really love it. So I'm really trust my intuition, and I really feel that it's a great direction. So right now I don't care if I'm not like, I don't know, like I'm not a lawyer or something like this. So because I
No,
really love music. So
you have to be true, especially when you're young. Let's do it when you're young before you have
yeah,
responsibilities, etc., and all that.
yeah.
Do you engineer your drums and do you do your video editing?
So about like videos, yeah, I always like edit it by myself. I also record it by myself. I put microphones by myself.
Come
I
on.
yeah, I choose different microphones for like different sounds, different positions. I experimenting like every day. Sometimes I put, even right now I have like my microphone is like, I don't know, you see
Oh,
here.
room mic. Wow. Wow,
So
look at
it's
that.
like
That's
really
crazy.
close to my window, so you can create something like great because of this kind of like position. You have a lot of like room, a lot of like it's kind of like open sound. So I experimented like every day. I'm learning how to mixing myself, like because I'm working with my friend, and he's one of the best mix engineer in Poland. I'm lucky to have him because I met him during some music workshop, and I told him that I really want to focus on sounds, and he's also addicted to sounds. But when I send him my stems, I always have some ideas how to sound I need, for this kind of like track. So sometimes I put some reverb, sometimes I put some compressor because I just really want to show him what kind of like sounds it's in my head, so it will be easier for him. Sometimes I send to him like my inspiration, like, oh, I will hear this kind of like delay, like in one record, or I really wanted to create this kind of like gated reverb like Phil
Mm.
Collins, so I will send him some music, that's my inspiration. But mostly I have like sounds in my head, what kind of like sounds I really want to present. Yeah,
That's
but I'm
amazing.
still learning how to mix, because it's also my goal in the future. I really want to be a mix engineer, so and sense to producers like my mixing stuff. So I'm not doing it right now because I spend also a lot of time on computers. So because of my
Mm.
body and because of my eyes, I don't want to do it right now. Because
Smart.
yeah, and for my friend it's like 15 minutes to prepare this kind of like mix, because it's like he's like a genius. So for me it's like a lot of hours, but for
Oh,
him 15 minutes. So yeah, but during summer I will go to him, and I will like I will learning a lot of things from here, because yeah, he's like I said, he's like a genius. So yeah.
do you use Pro Tools for your DAW? Yeah. And what do you use for your
Yeah,
video editing?
yeah, I use right now Cubase.
Okay.
Yeah, because my mix engineer also used Cubase, so I just sent him like my project, and he has already all my files, colors, like reverbs, compressor, and etc. So for us, it's like quicker, to prepare this kind of like mix stuff. So that's why I use Pro Tools like just for a few months, because I discovered that a lot of like drummers and mix engineers use Pro Tools because it's like professional like
Yep.
program. But Cubase is also great, so I really love it. So right now I'm with Cubase, and for videos I use Final Cut Pro. Yeah.
Okay, seems everybody's using Final Cut Pro.
Yeah, exactly.
I need to do that stuff. I started to do some video editing, and I got busy playing and touring and not being home. And it was frustrating. I'm not going to lie. It was like, why am I upside down in this frame? Why is there no sound?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I invented some words that my children should probably not have heard, but it's crazy. But I do have a great friend, Russ Fairley, who is a wonderful videographer and editor, and his cousin actually is Josh Freese, who just got the gig with the Foo Fighters, and so it's pretty cool that. But anyway, it's nice to have someone like you have your friend there that knows and is a professional in that realm and can help you, like I have with Russ and my other friend Neil, another Neil, who helped me get started doing the recording thing back when the pandemic started. So, but that's great to do that. These are all skills that you're going to be using forever.
Absolutely.
I wanted to ask you about some artists that you play with. Who have you been touring with? You mentioned about traveling around. Who was that with? Is that with Ralph Kreminski?
Yeah, exactly. So I'm mostly right now I'm focused on like this kind of like Polish artists. I had some like proposition to be a part of like tour in the USA, but I can go right now because I have a contract in Poland. So maybe in January or February, maybe it will be happened, because I recorded drums for Alison Russell. She's like a Canadian singer, and I recorded with her in LA.
Wow.
So this album, it will be released in September this year. So yeah, she's ready to to be to tour like next year. So who knows, maybe I will be part of this kind of like tour. So I'm super excited. But mostly right now, Poland. I think if I'm not in the UK or in a Canada or in the USA, for me it will be hard right now to play with someone else, because if you are in Poland, I think you will just play in Poland. So because we don't have chance to have this kind of like European tour, like you are like touring with Beyonce, for example, or like Joss Stone. You will travel to Germany, to like Croatia, like USA. But if you are like a part of a tour in Poland, you will just touring in Poland. So but it's not also bad. So
it's great. It's great playing experience. I got to meet Ash last year. My wife and I met Ash when he was out with Tori. So he got us some tickets. This is just still pandemic times, and we had to test when we got to the venue, and we had 10th row center seats, and then of course we were brought backstage, just my wife and I, to go hang out with Ash Sohn and John Evans, the bass player, and it was mega. It was it was hilarious though, Victoria, I see him standing, he comes outside of his dressing room to get us, and I'm like, and he was just like a regular guy.
Yeah.
And John was like, what do you guys want to drink? We've got wine and beer. And I'm like, I'll just do a pop, because, but it was the best, probably 20 minutes, half an hour. And it was like, and I looked at him at one point and I said, I'm kind of fanboying out a little bit here. I'm kind of freaking out because you're like right here, and I've seen, and he's like, but what a sweetheart of a guy. And John was equally wonderful. But
John is also like mega. I met like John like I think 2 months ago, because also I just really wanted to see Tori. So they were in Poland, and I bought like 1 year ago tickets, and they postponed this concert because of the corona and etc. So I was waiting like 1 year for this kind of like concert, and I went with my brother, and like you said, I had the same like situation, like this is like they are like normal guys.
Yep. Yeah.
do you wanna drink like water, something else? How is going, Victoria? How was the concert? And I was like,
Oh
wow,
yeah. I know. Asking you about you, right?
yeah, yeah, exactly.
It was, I got to tell you though, the first song when they came out and they start with that loop, I can't remember what song it was. And then Ash play, and I've got it on video on my phone where he lays that backbeat on that signature snare. I started
Yeah,
to well up, like I started because my heart was just bursting that I'm actually
yeah,
seeing this in person, and that it felt like reminded me a little bit of Jeff Porcaro,
yeah.
like a little bit of that. It was just such a deep, beautiful groove, and oh man, it was just, and I'm,
Yeah, to be
you
honest,
know,
I even like
incredible.
the sound like feel it was like do. It was like groove,
Right,
so it was like
and hammering and hitting that snare drum
yeah,
like it owed him money. It was just like, oh, it was so, it was
yeah.
such a great experience. But if you come to Toronto, please, you've got to let me know. I'd love to see you play in person. I'm an
That's
hour, 90 minutes north of Toronto here. That would be wonderful to see
that's
you.
so
And
great. And so I have a grandma in Ottawa.
oh,
So
okay, I was just there in the on the
yeah,
weekend. I was just in Ottawa. Yeah,
mm.
that's
So
beautiful there.
I will let you know. Thank you so much. But you are also, if you wanna be in Poland, you are always my guest. So just let me know. I think Canada is like beautiful country, but Poland also is it is. So you can always like visit us. So
Yeah,
yeah,
you never know where things are going,
yeah,
where I'm going to end up playing. Let's kind of wrap things up a little bit here. I did want to mention that we do have
yes,
two of the Gretsch 140th anniversary lapel pins here. We're going to give away two of those, and um, we're going to do a little bit of a trivia. So if you have been watching the entire episode, you can maybe tell us what that snare drum is that Victoria is playing on her drum set right there. And do you have any ideas of another question people could answer, or do you want me to come up with something?
yeah. I think our idea was like, what is my favorite like
Your
word?
catchphrase
I
word.
I saw for my favorite like session drummer, and it will be another like maybe it will be easier for you. Like he's a drummer for like Joss Stone, like Tori Amos. We
Yes.
mentioned like just like 2 minutes ago, like his name. So this is my favorite word, and
Yes.
I
I
saw
love
this
it too.
word.
I knew before we had even really chatted. Oh, I saw when you wrote that, which is almost said it, because Ash said it during our chat, because I had him on the show a year and a
Yeah,
half or so ago, and that was hilarious. He had the big handlebar mustache
yeah,
at that
yeah,
point.
yeah, like, yeah.
I'm
It's
like, are you gonna shave that? He goes, well, I don't really know yet if I'm gonna. If she asks me to, then I will. Oh man,
yeah, and
I
this kind of
love
like
this story.
with this kind of like British accent. Yeah, this
Oh,
sounds great.
it was a trip. So we have two questions. What snare drums does Victoria have there, and what word have we kept
Yeah,
saying? Because one of our favorite drummers, the amazing Ash Sohn, that is a common word that he
yeah,
likes to use. So we have two of these, and I will mail those to whoever gets those. So if we don't get it while we are live here, we
yeah.
will. Let's see. Do we have another one here? And I want to say hello to Kevin Hume, who said hello to us. He is a great Canadian Gretsch
Hi,
drum artist
Kevin.
here. He is a fabulous drummer and a really great guy, and had him on the show at one point.
Yeah, great.
Um, I'm going to say a word. We're going to have some fun here. I took this idea from Hannah Welton, who
Okay.
was on here a couple of years ago as well. And she suggested that if I'm going to say a word and you can say whatever
Yeah,
word pops into your head in reaction to that. So the first word here is passion.
I would say drums,
Okay. Studio.
sounds,
Gretsch.
perfection.
Ooh, that's great.
Yeah,
Mr. and Mrs. Gretsch will love to hear that, and Paul and Josh. The next word is reggae.
Bob Marley.
Bob Marley. And the last one here is music.
Creativity. Yeah, I think
Wow.
so. Yeah.
Such great answers.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thank
One last
you.
thing I want to, and we're going to end with here. What one or two valuable things have you learned that you could impart to someone who says to you, Wiktoria, let's say a young female drummer says, I am so inspired by what you do and
Yeah.
how you play. What advice would you give them?
Yeah, it's always like tough question for me because I'm still thinking that I'm learning every day, so I'm not a legendary drummer, so for me it's like hard, to give this kind of like advices, so but I think I'm trying, to focus like every day, to listen to different styles of music, creating different sounds, and I think don't be afraid, because especially I'm observing this kind of like situation that if you are like female drummers, I think sometimes we are afraid, because it's like kind of like it's not it's hard sometimes, to be a female drummers because music industry is all about like being a man, but I think don't be afraid because we can, create this kind of like stuff in a positive way and in a special way. So I think being a female drummer, I'm not a big fan also of this kind of like word because I think we
Right.
are drummers,
Yes.
but I think in a special way that it's kind of like unique to being this kind of like drummer, and every band I think needs drummers and etc. So just find your direction and yeah, and I think work hard. Yeah.
Have you had any conversations with Cindy Blackman or Hannah or any other drummers that you may look up to, female drummers? And I believe me, I don't see you as, she's a female drummer,
Yeah.
but other young drummers
Yeah.
that are started to play drums, they're going to. I teach some female drummers, and they're actually, Roxanne is probably watching right now, and she's so excited to hear this interview, and she's seen your playing, and she's like, wow, she's ridiculous, and loves Cindy and loves Hannah Welton and others. So whether you like it or not, people are going to look up to you. You know what I mean? Whether they're male or female, but it
Yeah.
would be neat. I'm not sure. So have you had any connection with Cindy or Hannah?
Yeah, to be honest, I'm so grateful because I will be playing at the UK drum show in Liverpool this year. So Cindy Blackman
Woo!
will be there at the
Aw,
same day. So finally, I will have a chance to meet her. I don't know if she will have time to see my show, but we will see. But I'm so excited to meet her.
yeah,
I think Annika is following me
yeah.
on Instagram. I also follow Annika, but I never had chance, to to to, to speak with her also because I never had this kind of like situation. I met just one female drummer. I think. I'm so sorry, but because I didn't, I didn't remember like her name, but she's drummer for Georgia Smith. I don't know if you
Okay.
know her.
I don't.
Yeah, but I met
Wow.
her. It was like a just quick conversation that how it's going, etc. And yeah, she told me that I'm really focused on my like solo stuff and etc. But yeah, with Cindy, I'm so excited. So
She's a sweetheart. She is such a sweetheart. So yeah,
yeah.
wonderful. Wiktoria, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for doing what you do. And you know what? You are definitely on your way to doing some great things and seeing all kinds of different places of the world. And I wish you nothing but the best of luck in the future. And let's stay in touch. And if you
Absolutely.
come to Toronto, let me know, and good luck with everything.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Neil. It was so great. Like it was,
My pleasure.
I have to say that it was mega, you know.
It was mega. I still want to give these away, so please don't.
So thanks for having me. Like
You're
it was
welcome.
so great to talk with you and to, you know, to meet you, even like, you know, via this kind of like camera stuff. But yeah, you are so like great person. So I feel your energy. So so it was so great to talk with you. So like once again, thanks for having me.
My
I
pleasure.
hope my English it wasn't so bad.
Your
So
English is great, so don't
good.
ever be worried about that. And yeah, no, it's fabulous. Everyone, thank you for tuning in. So this is going to
Guys,
be saved on YouTube and on the Facebook page, so people for generations can watch this for years to come. And you'll see Victoria at the beginning of her career. And we will see you all soon for the next episode of the Gretsch Afternoon Drum Break. Everybody, take care. Bye-bye.
take care, guys. Bye.